Welcome everyone to the Licensing Subcommittee, Tuesday the 3rd of June at, I think it's 11:10 now. I'm going to pass over to our Ben Atchell, our legal advisor.
Good morning. Can I have a nomination for chair, please?
I nominate Councillor Strudwick for chair.
I second.
Over to you, Chair.
Perfect, thank you. We'll just go through some really quick fire regulations. If you signed in, please sign out and just follow Ben, basically. Meet at the Queen Victoria statue. That's about as much information as I've got. Let's do declarations of members' interest. Anyone got any interest?
Nothing to declare, no. Nothing to declare.
Perfect. Right, and then the decision of exclusion of press and public. What would members like to do?
Chair, obviously, I completely respect the legal advice that the recommendation is to go into a closed session. I've made no secret over the last 4 years that I am a strong believer that everything should be in the public domain where possible. You know, the idea is that the exemption paragraphs 1, 2 and 3 say information relating to an individual, information that is likely to reveal the identity of an individual, or information relating to financial business affairs of a particular individual. I always argue that licence holders and DPS individuals don't have that same anonymity, and they are viewed and determined in a public arena. If we ever have a licence review, a gambling review, a sex establishment review like we did the other day, everything's always in a public arena. I do absolutely agree that we should protect the identity of anybody that comes forward that's pending an outcome of investigation, i.e. if there is accusations of X, Y and Z, then we 100% should go into closed session. However, if something has been proven or finalised, or in this case, if they've accepted guilt, I don't believe that they should go into a closed session because the judgment's already been determined. And furthermore, I do think there's a public interest that the people of Portsmouth are fully aware of what we do, how we operate, how we do it, how we scrutinise, and how we come to our decision-making process. So I would personally prefer not to go into a closed session. I think this should be done publicly. This is quite non-contentious as well. I don't think there's much effect to the applicant if we are in public session. I think this is quite a light issue in my opinion, so for that reason I would not be recommended to go into exempt session, but I'll obviously leave it to you guys.
May I interrupt? I'm very sorry. The live stream isn't working. So you have a choice, sorry, you have a choice. I can ask my colleagues to look into it and then we could restart, or you can carry on. It's your choice, sorry. I'm being told it's not, no. I mean, I'm sure they can fix it. There's something... You sure? I'm really sorry about that, Councillor Medrick.
Yeah, we'll just adjourn for 10 minutes. How long can James run? Hello, hello.
Luckily, they didn't hear any of our conversations.
Hello.
1 second.
Carry on. Apologies for our technical issue. We were debating whether to go into exempt. Councillor Madrick had finished what he wanted to say. I wanted to see if...
It was.
So what? Councillor Swan, do you have any comments on what you'd like to do?
I think what Councillor Madrick says is valid, actually. I think, I think I would support what Councillor Madrick said.
Chair, perhaps I could just address the subcommittee briefly. I do appreciate the comment that's been made and the suggestion that you stay in public session for this matter. The recommendation, and I gave the advice immediately before the subcommittee convened, is that in this type of case, the normal procedure is for the matter to be held in private or exempt session for the reasons stated in the report, that you're identifying an individual and their personal circumstances. And in the case of taxi drivers, you are talking about criminal convictions and identifying that person, and that is naturally a very sensitive matter, irrespective of the nature of the conviction or whether there is still an outstanding investigation. It was stated by Councillor Madgwick that there's some distinction between the Licensing Act proceedings and taxi drivers. I would stress that in actual fact that's not quite true. It is possible for Licensing Act proceedings to go into exempt session. It's a different test because it's different regimes. However, if you are considering a personal licence application, you would almost certainly be holding, for exactly the same reasons, that hearing in exempt or private session. If during the course of a Licensing Act application or hearing there were personal or sensitive data that could be released, and you are talking about a criminal investigation or convictions, or you're identifying individuals such as third parties. Sometimes when you watch CCTV, for example, you will generally go into exempt session to view that footage. So there can be a bit of sort of moving in and out of exempt session for Licensing Act matters, but generally speaking, you're considering a premises licence rather than an individual personal licence. And in those circumstances where you are considering a personal licence, personal licence for the sale of alcohol, those hearings are held in private or exempt session. So for all those reasons, it is sensitive data as classed under the Data Protection Act. There is an expectation of confidentiality, and I think the important thing is that those making applications to the authority submit their information freely and confidentially as part of that process. And I would say wouldn't expect, as part of an application for a Hackney Carriage or private hire driver's licence, their personal details to be, and particularly convictions, to be broadcast or published. And there's no need for that to happen. The authority is able to consider it fully. In terms of I think the main thrust of what Councillor Madgwick is saying is that he would like there to be more transparency and openness in the decision making. And I have known with other authorities that the decision is still published, but it's anonymised, and it's written, carefully worded in such a way as to refer to a driver and their circumstances without actually identifying or being able to identify that individual. So that it is possible for it's obviously clearly more difficult to draft the decision in the first place and to ensure that anything that is published doesn't actually identify an individual, but it is possible to make the process more transparent if that's the wish of the subcommittee, and that's something that I could recommend and endorse if that's the route that you wanted to go down. The decision could be drafted in such a way as to make it clearer what the full circumstances of the case are. However, my strong advice to the subcommittee is that you do go into private session irrespective of what other action you take in terms of the decision.
Thank you, Ben. Councillor Madrick, what's your decision still? After that?
Well, it's not really my decision, it's my
I'm going
opinion. We could, if I would still prefer to keep it an open session. I believe there is a public interest, as I say. I think that is important. I think that I'm under the understanding that this side of the room, Chair, is off camera. So what we could do is give the driver the option, should he wish to sit on that side of the room where he is off camera, and we could ask the officers to refrain from using his name. That way there is some anonymity there, but the session is still open to be viewed and listened to by the members of the public. But either way, I'd prefer not to go into a closed session. But say it's up to you guys.
Councillor Swan.
Could it be clarified whether Mr. Rorke was told whether this meeting would be? Oh. Yeah, so I just want a clarification on whether, whether the driver had been notified of what this...
So the papers, when they're published, make it clear that the subject matter of the report is potentially exempt under the Local Government Act for the reasons as stated in the report, and therefore the report is not published in the usual sense. And there may well be an expectation from the driver that it's going to be held in a confidential session.
But it's not specifically stated that this will be how the meeting is held? No,
the report isn't published, and the only thing I can say is that it is accepted practice, and it is, for the legal reasons that I've stated, there is to a certain extent, a duty of confidentiality as well, an expectation of confidentiality, I would say, from most applicants. We haven't spoken to the driver yet. We're not in exempt session, so it makes it very difficult in this particular setup, in this room. If we did hear from the driver at this point without adjourning, to go into private session, his face, and I appreciate his name has already been mentioned, which is regrettable at this stage. But my strong advice is that you do go into closed session to consider this matter. There are, generally speaking, natural justice points and Human Rights Act points as well, because when talking about incidents or criminal convictions in a public forum, I would say that may restrict the ability of some people to actually present their case properly. We're not dealing with professional advocates, and it's right that everybody has the ability to present their case and to answer questions in a fair and in appropriate manner, and not feel hindered by the fact that their dirty laundry, so to speak, is being aired in public.
Sir, without using the microphone, how do you feel? Don't use the microphone, just respond to us directly. How do you feel? Are you happy with us to speak about this openly, or would you prefer us to go into a closed session?
Can I just quickly intervene?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Closed session means and open session means.
So an open session means that this is broadcast today, and it's available online for people to watch, which is what we usually do. Closed session, it means it's not available for people to... You don't mind? Are you 100% sure? So you understand that if we don't go into an exempt session, that means that today's hearing in full will be...
Other people gonna look and I'm gonna be at the drivers, just let them know, just gonna be in a situation like this, just to know how to proceed in the future.
Okay, so you're happy 100% for us to be an open session? Okay, with that in mind, Chair, go to the vote.
I appreciate you've heard that, but I would reiterate that my advice stands, and it is that you do move into private session to consider this matter. And it isn't normal for this type of matter to be in open session.
Thank you for your legal advice. Let's go to the vote on... Oh, yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to say was we should take into consideration that obviously, you know, anything we say is going to be out there. So potentially there could be repercussions for us as members if people took umbrage with things that we said, and could potentially, because they would know exactly what we said. Whereas obviously if it's not, if it's an exempt session, they don't actually know what we've said. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Especially we could be targeted individually if somebody were to watch this and take umbrage at something we'd said. Whereas if we're an exempt session, then that isn't a factor because nobody knows specifically what we've said.
Ben, the amount of things I say publicly that people take umbrage with. I'm used to this, Ben.
Okay, I just wanted to make that point.
Right,
Let's decide who wants to go into exempt. Okay, thank you for the legal advice. We're going to stay open. Right, introductions. Let's do councillors first. To my, I'm terrible at my lefts and rights.
It's left.
Left,
Yep.
there we go.
It's been a good start, Chair. I'm Councillor George Madrick of the Paulsgrove Ward.
And then I will go to my right.
Councillor Benedict Swan, Copner and Anchorage Park Ward.
And then I'll go to Ben.
Good morning, my name's Ben Attrell. I'm a solicitor employed by the council. I'm advising the subcommittee today.
Jane Didino, Local Democracy Officer.
Kevin Weeks, report author.
Annette Varndale, I work for the licensing team. I'm just observing today.
Perfect. And I forgot to say, I'm Councillor Emily Shrodwick and chair of today's meeting. Just so you know how today's going to run, we're going to go to Mr Weeks first, and then we will go over to you to do your case, and then we'll go back to Mr Weeks to do a sum up, and then you'll do the sum up, so you're the final person to get to speak. Then we go into closed session, discuss, come back with the decision, okay? I don't know if you have a running order. I think you do, so it just makes it a little bit easier. Perfect. I will hand over to Mr Weeks now.
Thank you, Chair. You have in front of you a report for the person to our left here. The purpose of the report is to consider the non-renewal, suspension and revocation of private hire driver's licence pursuant of Section 61 of the 76 Act as appropriate to the individual case. The recommendation that the matter be determined on merit and as considered appropriate by you, the licensing subcommittee. The reasons for the recommendations are that the driver has received 6 penalty points for breach of requirements to the control of a motor vehicle, or in layman's terms, using a mobile device whilst driving. Section 51 and 59 of the 76 Act require the council shall not grant a driver a licence unless the applicant is deemed fit and proper. However, there's no strict statutory definition of fit and proper, although a person's immigration status, previous convictions, warnings, and driving experience, good or bad, and the conduct, medical fitness, and general geographical knowledge of the area are all relevant factors that may indicate whether in the round a person is judged to be fit and proper. A driver's licence may be suspended, revoked, or not renewed at any or all of the following statutory grounds: that the driver has been convicted of any offence involving dishonesty, indecency or violence, that the driver has been convicted of any offence under or has failed to comply with the Town Police Clauses Act 1847 and 1976 Act, or any other reasonable cause. The committee has adopted policy guidelines on the relevance of criminal motoring convictions and general conduct. Now, the committee may depart from the guidelines if considered appropriate and proportionate to do so, but the committee's overriding concern is the protection of welfare of the travelling public. This conviction dates back to the 12th of December 2021. He was given 6 penalty points and fined £200. And it's worth mentioning why it's taken so long for the driver to appear today. And in simple terms is human error. I have no idea why, apart from the fact that circumstances dictated that the person who granted the 3-year licence back in 2022 never highlighted at the time that the driver had come back, reported to us that he'd had the conviction. It wasn't highlighted to us, and I can't question that person because she's retired from the service. So apologies, it has been highlighted, and the resources team are aware that anything like that that comes over to that counter is highlighted with immediate effect, as it has done 5 minutes ago before this session started, that there's another one inbound. I could go into the details of the circumstances behind it, and I know you would have read the report. I will be on hand to answer any questions as clearly and concisely as I can possibly do. But that's the report. Appendices A and B highlight the guidance on the relevance of the convictions and behaviour, which I've highlighted, and the DVLA summary. And it's worth to note that the offence was the 12th of December 21. The penalty point expiry date is the 12th of December last year, and the endorsement removal date is the 12th of December this year. So that's all I have to say at this point, and I'm here to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Let's start with members. Any questions for Mr. Weeks? Go on.
Thank you, Mr. Weeks. Just to confirm, we've had no other complaints or issues with this driver from a licensing authority perspective at all?
No.
Wonderful. And other than this one oversight, we have absolutely no reason to believe that the driver isn't a suitable, competent and experienced driver.
Never knew he existed until this report came across my desk.
Wonderful. And finally, how long has he been a licensed driver in the city? Do you know?
I think it's about since 2017.
2017 from January.
It's okay.
Yes, my first application was March
2017.
2017.
Perfect. Thank you. Perfect. Just press the button again. Wonderful. Thank you. That's all my questions. Thank you, Chair.
I'm going to make sure you don't go first next time, because tick them off. Do you have any questions for Mr. Weeks at this time? No?
We meet in the office a few times, and I think we have to talk with.
Microphone.
No, as I just told, I flew Mr. Kevin in the office a few times, and all we have to talk, it have been talked already, so I don't have any questions,
Just want to double check, members, no more questions? Right. Yep.
Just a couple of questions, Mr. Weeks. In previous cases, I note that a blue lamp course has been suggested. I'm not preempting what the subcommittee may or may not decide, but is that something that you might think relevant for this driver?
Absolutely. There are courses revisits that can be achieved at the end of this session. It could be resolved that the driver attend a blue lamp driving assessment at his own expense, just to assess his driving, to make sure. And there's no question that his driving skills are poor, apart from this conviction, which kind of countermines my comment that his driving is poor because he's got the conviction. But that there are courses that they can attend, all drivers can attend at their own expense to assess their driving. So that is a course that's available to us as well.
So that's something the subcommittee could impose if they were minded to make that decision.
Definitely.
I note from the report that the conviction was actually initially declared, if you like, by the driver as part of the licensing process. And he was asked, however, to return to provide further documentation when it actually came onto his licence. Did he do that?
No, he did actually say that he reported it to Aqua, but I highlighted to him also that Aqua aren't the licensing authority, we are. The old school Aqua have now all left. I think there's only a few there now.
So I'm just trying to work through, in my mind, precisely what happened, and it's probably a bit blurry because obviously the person that was actually dealing with it's no longer with us.
No.
But it seems as though the driver reported it, he was told to come back, and it may well be that the admin person dealing with it at that time was expecting that to trigger the
I think what happened, I think
process.
that's a fair comment. I think what happened is he came in, reported it, he was renewed, but it was still, once you've got the summary, once, I think I mentioned the wording I used, once it's been posted onto your licence, bring it in or send it in, it just at that time at renewals, things they drop off our radar, and it's human error.
So I mean, there's clearly been some administrative error on the part of the licensing authority, but it seems as though there was a bit of a failing from the driver as well.
I'll accept that. I concede. I'll take that hit. Yeah.
I think the other points that I was going to ask have all been answered. The driver's been driving since January 2017. No other issues or concerns whatsoever.
As I say, I never knew the guy existed until he.
Chair, I probably ought to explain that I'm asking more questions than I ordinarily would because the driver's not represented. I don't think there's anything else that I wanted to add really at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to move on to applicant's case. This is your time now to tell us what happened, why you should be renewed, any information that you can give us to kind of get the background and the understanding of what's happened.
Well, so as the report is saying, it was a Saturday to Sunday night. I just picked a young lady, a teenager actually, it was no more than 19, 20 years. I picked her up from Hampshire Boulevard, and the direction to the job of the job was to Bucknell Regis. As I picked her up, I started the journey, get up the motorway, and somewhere past Farlington Bridge, he started to get sick and in the car, so I pulled over on the left-hand shoulder and just to check her if she's all right, and I was worried of what she did inside the car, because it started to get a bad smell inside the car. So, and at the first point, I told her, I'm really sorry, we can continue the journey. We got very close here, the Beefeater pub in Bedhampton, So I drop you here now and drop you there. And to can get another taxi, we can continue this. No, please, please, please don't let me. I'm gonna pay you for what I did. And I said, okay, let's. But I asked her for the money first because I wasn't sure she gonna pay me or if she not gonna pay me. And she's got like a purse. She showed me like it was 420 notes. And I said, well, it's okay, I think it's not what I need it to be, but it's pretty enough. But I asked her if she gonna do that again. I'm really sorry, I'm gonna have to stop and drop her off the car because we can't continue like that. And I will start the journey. Again, she called someone who pretends to be her mother. And at first time when she called her, she gave me, would you like to talk with my mother? I said, I'm really sorry, I'm driving, I can't do that. And she insists like 5, 4, 6 times, please talk with my mom, please talk with my mom. No, I can't. It was like 67, 68 miles with both hands on the wheel. And at one point, she approached me and put the phone on the speaker on my ear, and said hello. And when they said hello, the volume of the speaker, the phone was really high, and also just take the phone off of that because you're gonna broke my hearing. You start like whistling because that sound was really high. And just put it down because I can't talk. And that one she put it on the armrest. She put it down there. And when it was there, she said, listen, I'm her mom, please don't let her down. She's suffering. And she told me got anxiety, got a few things. I don't remember what she told me because I couldn't understand already because I was driving, I was trying to get with my hearing to close to the phone to try to understand what she's talking. This one was like 25, 30 seconds. And she took the phone off and then we continued driving, and not very short time I just saw a police car, an unmarked police car in front of me, just saying, follow me. And they pulled me over by Emsworth exit, Emsworth Havant exit. They pulled me over. And the first time when they pulled me over, when they stopped me, I thought maybe they're gonna ask me why I stopped on the Health Road. I had no idea they're gonna stop me for the phone, because any moment I didn't touch that phone. My phone and my PDA working for Aqua was both of them in the holder, like in the right-hand side. So I never touch a phone. And they pulled me over. They told me, look, why we stop you? And I explained, no, you can't do that. You are a professional driver, and you can't really do that. So I didn't understand that time because I've never had been stopped by the police. So I have no idea how to react, what to say. I was like lost until they told me what they're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna say they made the penalty charge. The lady behind opened the door. They don't even ask her if she's all right or she's okay or nothing. Just she take a bit of hair. And then when I saw her, she's got a pair of leggings. When I really saw what the mess she did in the car, because she get a pair of leggings, it took it off, and it start to cleaning like the back seat, the front seat, and I start cleaning herself as well. And they give me the penalty charge. I don't know, I don't remember, because I was almost completely lost, because I couldn't believe what's happened. And I start journeying out to the Bognor Regis, where the lady should go. We have arrived there. She start me to negotiate. I'm not gonna pay so much money. I'm gonna give you 60, no more than that. And when I was thinking, I said, whatever you're gonna just give me, whatever you're gonna give me, just give me, and just to get out of here, because it wasn't me. It was me. It was a point. I was thinking, I had no idea how I was arrived to Bognor Regis. I was a bit, and I was arrived there as well. No, Mom doesn't show up. Nothing. And she paid me with all the money she had in. She paid me on card, £60. That's all I'm gonna pay you. Okay. And she really checked it, she took it, she put her PIN code, she paid me. And in all this talking, I don't know, she lost that purse, she lost it in the car. But I saw it, I didn't say at that moment, I saw it tomorrow morning when I took the car to the car wash. So that purse is stood all night in the car, and I didn't realize it was there. So I cleaned the car next day. It was Sunday, and Monday morning I went to Aqua and I reported what's happened with the penalty charge, with the purse, with the receipt of the car wash, with everything. And actually, next Wednesday I had a ticket bought like 2 months before to go in Romania, because already I spent Christmas in Romania, and I told them, look what's happened, let's get this really done as quick as possible, because I'm gonna take a holiday off, and let's get it done. And to know what to do, how to do, what. The next day, Monday, I paid the penalty charge, so I paid it. It had been paid really quick, the penalty charge. And they told me, no worry, I'm in another business right now. If I don't call you tomorrow, just pass in the office when you come back from holiday, and we're gonna discuss about it. And as well, when I came back from holidays, I asked them, okay, I'm gonna give you a call, no worries. And I'm asking from where I rented the car, which is Fast Track, to if I can get the same car to get or if they can have it to take the CCTV footage out. Because that was showing, I didn't touch any phone, and said the car is not available because other drivers have it. But they're gonna try to take the CCTV footage and they're gonna let me know. And the time passed, I've been another time asking, and the time passed and nobody knows me, and I've been left like, it was a moment I couldn't do anything to prove, like, it was like circumstances, like, so, I don't know how to explain. I don't know, it was unlucky or how to say it. Because I was knowing, was looking at even Fast Track, and even just, this is 2 o'clock, just payment. And sometimes when you used to ask them, yeah, we're gonna talk, we're gonna do it, we're gonna try finally, we're gonna, but I never, and I've been left like this. in this situation like I am right now.
Thank you. Luckily, we don't have to decide whether you're guilty or not, but I actually respect that there's quite a lot of honesty coming from you. Councillor Madrick's indicated you wanted a question?
I thought you said you were going to go first next time in case I steal your questions.
Absolutely.
As I told to Mr. Kevin as well, if I was guilty or I had something to hide, like now together the last renewal of license, I just simply, if I knew or if I had something to hide, I simply just not renew the license and wait until December to get the driving record clean and apply for a new license. But as I told him, I never had to hide nothing. I always told the truth, always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, just want to give a personal thanks for allowing us to do this in an open session today. I completely and utterly respect Ben's legal advice, and he often gives incredibly sound and logical advice, which I always appreciate. However, it's very nice to be able to hear a driver speak openly about a situation, and also I think a lot of people don't understand that how hard drivers have it sometimes, and the things that it's always, we always hear about what drivers do wrong. We very rarely hear about what clients and passengers do wrong. And I think this is a very good open forum to hear a different side of it. So first of all, I do personally thank you for allowing us to do this openly today. In relation to the night, just so I can confirm, did you hold the phone at any point, or did the lady hold it up to your... Just pop the microphone. Sorry.
I never hold it, I told you. It was a few seconds, and I said hello on the phone. She held it on my ear.
So she was holding it to your ear?
Yeah, 2 or 3 seconds, and the other person said hello. But as the was really high, was on speaker, and it would damage my hearing. So I said just put it down, because
Okay, so
I had like my ear was like start whistling, like I had a whistle inside my ear.
So when the police did pull you over, did you accept the fine just to kind of get it over and done with? Did you understand at the time what you were accepting, or did you not understand?
I didn't understand at that time. Okay. I didn't understand at the time, because I told you I've never been, not even in Romania. I got in all my life a penalty charge. I've been stopped twice. I got driving license from September 2007. And I've been stopped in Romania. I used to stop for MOT and insurance check. It's not like, it's not like on internet online, like it's more on paper, and you have to prove it like on paper. And another stop I had was an alcohol control. Like, it used to be Friday or Saturday night when people is getting outside. And there was the 2 stops. I've been stopped in Romania in all my life. And in UK was the first and the only time when I've been stopped by the police with this incident. So I never had to react. I never how the police. I just was at the moment just completely lost. I didn't know how to react.
So back when you were informed to report this to the licensing department once you had the outcome, you say you reported it to Aqua, who was the license, the taxi company at the time.
Yes.
Why didn't you report it to the licensing
I
department?
had no idea I had to report it. That way I went, I asked them, and I saw they gonna act like a lawyer between me and the council. And was conviction, when I understand at that time it was a lack of knowledge as well. So conviction, the word conviction for me was like being involved in drug dealings, like in stealing, in stuff like this. I didn't know like this one was a conviction. I had no idea.
Okay, that's fair enough. And when you spoke to Aqua, at the time, did they not advise you to declare it to the licensing department? So when you said this is what's happened, did they not then say to you, you need to go and speak to the licensing department, or did they not give you that advice?
No, they didn't tell me nothing. Nothing. It was, we just remain, we're gonna discuss about it, but it never happened.
If you don't mind, Chair, just going back to Mr. Weeks, you did say in your statement that you're aware that he did report it to Aqua. Are you aware through official channels or just via what the driver has told you directly?
Just via what the driver's told me. It's worth pointing out in days, drivers would, when it came to things like admin, DBSs, CRBs at the time, they would take them to their operator rather than to us. And then we would chase them out. And they said, but I've already given it to Aqua. And again, highlight and emphasise, Aqua are not your authority. We are your authority. We're the ones that license you. You need to keep us updated. And I've highlighted that to many a driver, in fact.
I think that's a really useful comment. But now you know, sir, in future, you need to speak to licensing.
And now I know perfectly, especially in the last renewal, which has made on the internet. So get there a lot of steps, and there is specifically explain each step what that mean. Are you that you got driving conviction? You get, now I got it perfectly what it mean. If that would happen, if that was before this would never happen. I would report it at that time straight to the council. I wouldn't go to Aqua.
No worries, sir. And my final question, Chair, if you don't mind. Since this incident, have you continued to be a driver? You've done it full-time every month for the last couple of years? One of you want to respond?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, he's been issued a 6-month licence. And it will be pending the outcome of this. He's paid for a 3-year licence, but it expires in August, and pending the outcome of this is whether or not he walks into our office and we extend it for that 3 years, or we take whatever action is deemed fit and proportionate by your good selves.
Thank you. And just to confirm, so obviously you say you've been driving ever since. How many miles a year do you do on the road? Do you know? Oh, Kevin.
Reported by the car I had right now, I got it from May last year, and it's made about 29-30 miles, 29-30 k. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you drive quite a lot, and you've not had any other convictions or issues since then. That's good. Thank you, Chair. No further questions.
I'm just going to divert a question quickly to Mr. Weeks. When they receive their licence, I feel this has come up before about where they should report it. Am I under the impression they are told if things like this come up, they should be reporting it to the licensing team?
Yeah, for a simple answer, the routine has improved. When the transition of the service we amalgamated, there was a few, I think it's safe to say, a few stumbling blocks, because the new team that came in didn't know what the routines were. They were changing, and it's a lot better, it's a lot smoother. So every applicant that comes through, once they've completed the stages of the knowledge test, the safeguarding, etc., then they're given all the advice, they're given the information, they are told every step when asked, and when myself and my other colleagues are there, we're on hand to also emphasise that point. And even applicants that are coming in that have points on their licence, and to give an example, there's a guy that came in, he's got 6 offences on his licence, and he's only 24, and he's going to have to be advised that we're not going to support his application because of the amount of offences that he's got. So every applicant, every driver is constantly told that if you get a conviction, regardless of if you're arrested, it's the conditions of their licence. And when they're given that paper licence, I always emphasise, read the conditions of your licence because they may change. It's also a refresher to have. So if you do get arrested, then you've got to let the licensing authority know, not your operator, us. Come in and tell us. We're not judging. We need to be aware, because unfortunately things like this do come back and bite us on the posterior.
Thank you. And then I've just got one question. It's more, obviously, being a private hire driver, you are driving at night, and that's when obviously there's no buses or trains, so you are dealing with people that are slightly intoxicated. Now, this is only one instance, but I'm just curious, do you think you would have done anything differently to have dealt with this situation, had it rise again? Because it's probably not going to be the last one.
Well, like, if I could go back in time, I don't know, or I wouldn't take the job, or, well, if I take it, I would drop it off at Beefeater Pub in Bedhampton. If I would go back in time and change something.
So you feel that you've probably learnt from this experience?
Oh, a lot. It was, I told him, it was my worst day in being in England in 8 years and a half. The worst.
Thank you. Councillor Swan, do you have any questions? No? Madrick, do you have any more? Kevin, do you have any questions for this gentleman?
No.
Thank you. Right, well, we'll move on to summing up then. So back to you, Kevin, please.
Thank you, Chair. Policy says, in the case of an existing licence holder, the licence will be revoked and a further application will not be supported until at least 5 years have elapsed since the conviction or completion of any sentence or driving ban imposed, whichever is the latest. Our report also says that having a conviction or a community order or caution resulting from a custodial or non-custodial sentence need not necessarily bar applicants or drivers continuing to hold a licence. The committee may depart from the guidelines if considered appropriate and proportionate to do so, but our overriding concern is the protection and welfare of travelling public and other road users. We've heard from our friend here on the left that the welfare of the customer in that vehicle that night, making sure and ensuring she got home safely, you could argue that that was an overall riding concern. As previously mentioned, the driver has been issued a 6-month licence due to expire in August 2025, and we've heard, as prior to this incident, he hadn't crossed my radar. I didn't even know he existed. Now, only apart from the conversations I've had with him in the office, we've never received any other complaints about him. There are other measures that you can take action against the driver here. You can offer a final written warning with the caveat of points on his private hire licence and, if deemed appropriate and proportionate, driving assessment at the Blue Lamp at his own expense. Thanks very much, Chair.
Thank you. And now it's time for you to sum up. If there's anything else you want to add, anything else you want to say before we go into our closed session for...
Sorry, thank you. All I have to say is has been said, so I said everything, so no. Thank you.
That's no problem at all. So we are going to move into...
Chair, sorry, just before we go into private session, I'll just issue a very short, pithy bit of legal advice. I think it's probably better that I do it in open session rather than closed session so that everybody gets to hear it, including the driver. Obviously, the policy is particularly strict. In normal circumstances, the policy would dictate that you'd be looking to revoke the licence in these circumstances. These are unusual circumstances, particularly insofar as the driver has had the administrative error that has worked in his favour and has enabled him to drive for a period of almost 3.5 years since the conviction. In terms of the actual conviction itself, the policy and the law generally is particularly clear that you're not in a position to go behind the conviction. You're not able to accept an explanation which amounts to a defence, and what you're being told today in terms of I didn't touch the phone would amount to a defence in criminal law. So you're not able to go behind the conviction and decide that actually the driver was not guilty of the offence. You have to accept that he was using the phone and that resulted in a conviction, and accept that fact. You may well decide that there are mitigating factors in this particular case and that they are substantial enough for you to depart from your policy. And if you do depart from your policy, you'll obviously need to give good reasons. Ordinarily, and I understand there is another case in the pipelines, if you're presented with the case of a driver who gives an explanation such as this, the normal course of action would be to revoke. That's the usual default position, but it's a matter of for you to decide whether there are exceptional circumstances surrounding this case that warrants a departure from your policy.
Thank you, Ben. What's the time? We're going to go into, it's 12 o'clock, so we'll go into closed session. I would say 12:45, yeah? 30, perfect. So if we reconvene at 12:30, if you see us, we're not ignoring you, we just can't talk to you. And yeah, well, no later than 12:30, so hang around at the front and we'll call you in when we're ready.
I think, Chair, if it's okay,
Yeah.
what I would suggest is that we say the minimum will be 12:30, so the subcommittee won't reconvene before 12:30. It might take them a little bit longer, but it won't be before then, so you can go away between now and 12:30 and know that the subcommittee is not going to reconvene in that time. Does that make sense?
Thank you.